everyone, and welcome to the Toku Portal podcast for Kamen Rider Zero-One. I am today are.
Okay, hold on. You cut out there. Start over.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Toku Portal podcast for Kamen Rider Zero-One. I am Vashi V, and joining me today is
Rye.
Pixie Cat.
And Zero.
Welcome to the Toku Portal podcast.
starring my face.
Yeah, welcome to the Vashi podcast.
So we just found out that Discord can be pulled into OBS and we found an easier way to do it instead of having a bunch of mini calls, since they introduced channel-based video chatting.
Yeah, no, I just kind of showed up to them doing this and was like, oh, I can throw this into OBS.
And then this started as a joke with it just being my face.
So we're just gonna do this the whole episode, or should
I
I
don't know,
switch
we're
to
not-
the
we're
regular?
not late.
You're the one controlling it. It's entirely up to you.
Alright.
I mean, you could throw up the 4 split view if you want.
I
At
don't
least
know how
it
to do
highlights-
that, actually.
Click the general voice channel. It should go in a grid.
The top right, you should have focus.
Yeah.
In OBS or
No, in
Discord.
Discord.
in Discord? Okay, have...
God damn it.
Yeah, no, I don't...
Yeah, trying to entertain people.
Yeah, I don't see this. I don't know where I'm looking.
Yes, Drago, it is just Bashy's face right now. I'm glad you think it's hilarious.
I don't know where to find this.
Okay.
Alright, that
Okay,
we can...
go on Discord, click on the general voice channel. Do you see like a screen show up with all 4 of us on it?
Oh, yes, I do.
There you go. Is it in a grid pattern or is it like
Okay, yeah,
one
it's in a
user view?
it's in a grid pattern.
Okay, that's the good one then.
Okay, hold on.
You have to resize now. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to.
I mean, you
fix
could
this.
technically pop it. You can pop it out, and then it'll be a smaller one. But whatever, it's up to you.
This is apparently what's happening here.
Hey, look, man, it's experimental. We're already late. It can't get worse.
At least it can't get any worse, he says.
Look, if
Yeah,
it
you're not
stops, then it gets
watching-
worse, and I'm not controlling YouTube. So.
the resizing is fun to watch. this is intriguing.
Okay.
And somehow it's still only my face.
Yeah, because none of us have our webcams active.
Okay, now we're all in view from on what I'm looking at.
Nice.
My camera is not being detected right now. Is my webcam plugged in? I don't think it is.
Today on how things work.
Yeah.
Today on the We're Totally Prepared for This tech stream.
I mean, to be fair, not a lot happened in this Rider episode, so we got
I
time.
disagree.
I completely disagree.
Oh, totally disagree.
Oh,
We open up with Arto trying to figure out his company motto, and if you didn't guess what it was going to be, or at least half of it, you're not paying attention.
I got. No, we'll get into that later. Set your shit up.
Also, they already have customers. The mangaka from episode 6 or something comes
Dude.
in and wants his partner fixed.
This is way too fucking genius. Okay, all right.
Oh no.
Something.
Oh no. I turned on my camera and
There you go.
And it's
and it's way off.
There it is. Yep, because my setup is bad.
Oh, it's fine. Okay, there you go.
You look like a little kid trying to get into frame. Like, please look at me.
Oh man, this is great. Yeah, it's still way too high up.
Yeah, okay, so Zero, what were you saying? Because when I turned on my camera, it cut out everything else to try and figure out what to do about that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. So what I was saying is, did the main writer of this episode, who I'm guessing is probably the main writer of the show, just like X8, write the first episode which the mangaka was in? Because that episode was so boring and bare bone.
Let me
Have that
check.
character show up again in a really good episode where he it implies he had a lot of character growth and stuff. That is so genius. Because it's the one character who barely had a character, and now coming back, this is like well, I guess he already had a 2-parter, so this is like a 3-parter, 4-parter for him. Like, the amount of foresight to write that in so early in the show and then bring it in later, it's kind of amazing. Also, still too high.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, too low.
It's because
too low.
I'm leaning towards my other monitor to look this up. Okay, so
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
yes, no, he did not write that episode.
Okay, yeah, if he had, that would have been like amazing foresight, but because he didn't write it, I wonder if he corrected that mistake where his maybe even he felt that episode wasn't strong enough, so to bring that character back and to give him a proper arc was important for the show, which again, pretty amazing recovery, which seems to be the case.
That episode was written by Masahaya Kakehi. And I think that was the first episode of Rider he's ever written.
I mean, for a first episode, that wasn't terrible. It was very formulaic, but for a first episode, it was pretty okay.
However, he has worked on various drama before.
Like, the one thing I really like about this episode is something that you don't realize that we enjoy, or at least, and didn't even really think of until I saw the post of people kind of get irritated with the one-off characters. They, there's no stock in them because we're never going to see these people again. And let's be fair, that's how the mangaka felt. And then here we are, 30 some odd episodes later, and it's like, oh yeah, here's that manga guy from forever ago. And even here, there's still character development with a character that was literally initially designed as a one-off character. He was there literally just to serve as a plot device.
Yeah, that's a good point. Also, is this the same Humagear that was in that episode? I don't remember.
Yes,
G-Pen.
G-Pen.
Oh, wow. That's pretty amazing to get both of them. I mean, I guess it makes sense because it's kind of required to redo the episode to get both of them back, but impressive nonetheless.
And
Also,
G-Pen was the one hacked in that episode too.
Oh, damn. That's a good point, which means this new G-Pen is after the mangaka learned his full lesson at the end of that episode. So that's why he's oh, I don't want him to... I mean, I want him to live, basically. Because he already saw one blow up.
Alright.
What is making you laugh, Rye?
That I take a sip of my drink and I look over and you're taking a sip of your drink immediately after. Alright. So, Pixie, do you have any thoughts about this character?
Sorry, I'm just kind of lost. But if we're still talking about the manga creator, don't yell at me. The manga creator showing back up, I thought that was genius.
So he wants Aruto to restore G-Pen as his partner again. Aruto is very willing to restore him. However, he wants to encourage G-Pen to make his own decisions about what he wants to do. In other words, he wants to help Humagear awaken, as they are no longer connected to Satellite Zaya. I think it's implied that Thouser shut it down.
No, Thouser didn't. When all of this stuff went down, my assumption with the because he's trying to get Yua to get it to connect. That Aruto and Izu severed that connection.
Well, it was never fully explained in the previous episode. The last we saw was him telling Yua to shut down Satellite there. And that was all we got.
So yeah, the implications are that someone of shut it down basically to keep it out of, Captain Thousand Islands hand.
God damn it! You have to like throw it in there. Huh?
Yes, I do, because you ended up using it. This
Okay,
is my
that
new
was
game.
like one slip up. Right?
I don't care. This is my new game.
Oh god damn it!
Or we
Also,
could call him
Ryan, click your
CEO Crazy
damn,
Pants.
What's
Sorry,
up?
go ahead. I said click the hide thing on Discord because it's like just showing up the purple like streaming whatever in privacy mode Discord banner on the live stream.
Yeah, that's just so that it's saying that like it's not gonna show up any like notifications that I get while we're streaming.
Okay.
So if I do that, kind of goes away.
Anyway, yeah. Go ahead, Pixie. Also, Drago's watching, and he says
Making fun of us.
looks pretty good.
But yeah, for all we know, for whatever reason, Yua and Zaya wanted to shut down there and deactivate all human gear. So we know all the human gear have been deactivated, but for whatever reason, they're not able to reboot or get into Satellite there.
So, Jin immediately shows up and just kind of kidnaps G-Pen. And, like, this is why I say that Jin could still be the final boss, because, like, he just shows up and is already prepared to fight Aruto and not talk about it at all. So, like, if he's just not willing to listen to the other side, then I don't think they could come to an agreement in the end.
It's like, well, you have that and the fact that, Thousand Islands obviously not going to be the final boss. He literally shows up to get wrecked by Aruto.
Yeah, no, at this point we're just waiting for his actual defeat, because in terms of a power struggle, like, he's beaten by, like, every character at this point.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, I do feel like Jin has the ability to become... Basically, he's pretty much Heart from Drive now. In which case, like, you could see him becoming a good guy. You can see him being the final villain, even though Heart being the final villain in fucking Drive was super stupid. But, it's possible. Anyway, also, Dr. Phantasmal says there's like a little X in the corner if you want to click to close that. But right now it's so off. It's pretty much off screen, so you don't have to worry about it. Anyway, thoughts on this, Pixie?
It's kind of hard to tell with Jim right now because he keeps helping out Aruto at the same time trying to push his own ideas. And you still have Hirobi showing up telling Jin he's basically dumb. and that what he's doing is not going to work. So it's kind of hard to get a feel for which way Jin's going to go, but I could see Jin being the major boss in this. Him or Hirobi, because Hirobi's just kind of hanging back in the shadows at the moment.
Like for me, like the main reason why I would like Jin as a final boss is as much as we can see it, we also see the whole him turning good more. Especially like the longer this episode goes on it just on its own. So that's the more obvious play for this. And let's face it, this is Toei. They're not really big on twists. They have some good ones, but this is just one where it seems to be going by the numbers, just with a really good story behind it.
Yeah, honestly, if I had to choose between a twist or a well-told story at this point, like writers kind of done pretty much like a ton of different twist type stuffs, but it's like usually it's not as well done, or it's not as well remembered as the stories that are really well told, or at least anything that ramps up to a good ending. Because like, okay, you tell the twist, but like in like 5 years, every single Tokusatsu fan's gonna know that pretty much. Or like enough people, then it's like, well, then you just watch the whole show knowing what the twist is, and at that point, like if the rest of the show is not that good, then it's like there's no point sticking around to that.
Since we brought up Drive, anybody else getting Chaser vibes with Jin?
So I haven't
I could see
seen
Chaser.
Drive. I only seen Chaser in the couple episodes he was in Zio at the very end. So going off of that, not really.
So
I can see it in like an enforcer type where he's just kind of the badass that walks in and wrecks everyone's shit.
Well, that's where he started.
that was
He
kind of
is wearing
that was
purple.
his role. He showed up as a bad guy to wreck the crap out of Drive because no, these are my friends, knock it off.
Oh, in that case, yeah, totally. That's
And then
that's just Jin.
as the story progressed, he felt humanity and all this. Turns out he was originally Kamen Rider Drive to start with.
Oh, dude, spoilers.
Sorry, but I spoilers your Drive out. My bad. I apologize for that.
Oh,
My
the
apologies for
timing.
spoiling you out of the chat, man. But he, over the course of a handful of episodes, slowly turns good because he starts questioning his motivations, why he's things he's doing, et cetera, and becomes good. And I'm like, it's literally the same thing, except he's not falling in love with, a cop.
Yeah, pretty much. Like basically the difference between like, okay, so like the guy who wrote Drive wrote Double. And so the thing with like Double and Drive is like as the show goes on, you get like more and more plot twists. Whereas X8 is like there's some plot twists, but it's more like it develops characters, and they kind of do a few things that are unexpected. And I feel like the show is more going down that route than the holy shit they're gonna pull something out of the basically like some last minute thing, which like Drive and Double have a lot of that near the end, where it's like, where the hell did that come from? It's just here now. Deal with it. And honestly, I don't want that because like the Hirobi and Jin thing is super interesting, right? Because like you think like, well, Hirobi would kind of become irrelevant because he's just controlled by the arc, but then he shows up this episode and it's like, what did you expect? You weren't friends, but it's like, what are they gonna do? Like, without a network, they're useless. So it's like, yeah, my way is the only way, pretty much, right? And so now Jin has to face both sides, where it's like, well, you go with the humans and either be destroyed or controlled by their network. You turn to the AI and you're gonna get controlled by the arc. You can do stuff your way, but it's like he doesn't even know what to do because he didn't even know that you have to make them reach singularity, and even if that would maybe help, right? Because before they were already targeting human gear who had reached singularity, so he doesn't even know how to make people reach singularity until this episode. you know. So like he has to make his own way, which is different than Arto's way, which is like, hey, I want to be friends and basically go back to the golden age of Hidan, you know. So it's interesting that we still have like at least like 4 or 5 different ways where the human gear are concerned.
Pixie, do you have any thoughts?
I actually just had technical difficulties, so I didn't hear any of that.
I was just saying like it's interesting that the human gear still have like so many different outcomes because you know you can go like the Hirobi path, which is, you know, be free but controlled by the arc, and the Jin thing, which is like try to reach singularity and live your own, and Arto's one is like, you know, like the golden age of Hidan, like humanity and human gear working together, and then you have like Zaya, which is just gonna scrap them all. So it's interesting that we haven't like close down and become like destroy all the human gear or this is the one solution, that we still have like so many different pathways. Do you have any thoughts of how that'll turn out?
Right now, I can't really say which way that's going to turn out, because at the moment we've got so much going on. We still found out Hirobi still very much kill all humans. Jin's starting to waver on us now. And then we got Zaya wanting to scrap all the human gears and control all their employees via microchip. So it's very weird how this is all going. I think it will end up with us working with the human gears and them being more sentient from the start, but at the moment, it can't really tell.
Honestly, I could see two endings to this, and both of them involve uh, Aruto achieving his dream of like humans and human gear coexisting. The difference is whether or not Jin is one of them. Whether or not Jin is able to actually accept that humans can change and not just treat them as tools, versus if he holds too strong to his belief that they need to be liberated from humans and continues fighting against Aruto to the end.
Right, and either one of those would be interesting. It, I'm kind of hoping for, you know, the let's fight to the death part because I enjoy those type of stories, especially if like they both reach that level of understanding with each other. That yes, this is an inevitability, but we're good friends. So it's like they try to pull a Joker thing for Blade, like from Blade, the whole, yeah, we're drawn to fight each other. You stay away from me.
Yeah, I
you,
can see the blade thing. That'd be interesting.
You cannot recreate an ending that good though.
I mean, we've had like other endings. Well, maybe not the blade one because yeah, you're right. You can't really top the blade thing.
The only way you top Blade is by ending it in Zio.
Oh god.
That was the only way to top Blade, and that perfected
the good
the ending.
It just took
Yes.
20 or 15 years. Oh Jesus, Zio. Yeah, as shit as Zio was, like the returning writer shit, and like the later half of the show was freaking great. The Kabuto one still a little bit questionable, but you know it wasn't terrible.
I thought that was the best one.
Really?
Yes. And that's
Okay.
even comparing it to the Blade one.
I don't know. I mean, I like the Kabuto one kind of rubs me the wrong way. I'm like, because you can't get the actor back.
I thought they made good use of who they could get back.
Yeah, that's why they had to like work around it. So I'm like, all right, like original, like Tendo is never coming back, so like, or he's not never allowed back, so we're gonna have to work around it. So for what that limitation, they did a pretty good job. Like the Hibiki one was probably the fucking worst. Well, I mean, of the late stage ones, there were probably worse ones earlier on. Jesus Christ, man, 5s and 4s, like what the hell were they? That's
That
so
one
bad.
was nostalgic hype, so for that reason it
Oh, you're
wasn't
right.
bad. But
Wizard one was the worst. Nito. Oh, I'm just here now. Like, what the hell was that? That was so bad.
or what about Gimes like you fucked up, so go back in time and do it again right?
Yo, I could let Gaim pass because he's the type of guy who's not gonna fix your problems, but he'll give you a redo. So I'm like, okay, that's
To
kind of
be
in his
Yeah, all
fair,
right, all
personality.
right, all
it,
right.
you know, and to be fair, you know, Gaim kind of has that power.
Right. I mean, besides, Kaito was great in that. Yeah. So, like, I'm gonna let it pass just for Kaito being like, fuck off, Gates. Like, pick a side. Like, kill the guy or figure out another way. Right? Enough of
Shit
your
or get off
shit.
the pot.
All right, but back to 01. So
So,
Aruto apologizes to the mangaka of like, sorry, I lost your human gear. I don't think he can be your assistant anymore. And the guy goes, no, I don't want him to be my assistant. I want him to be his own mangaka. I want him to make his own series.
Yeah. Pixie, were you trying to say something?
well, I was going to point out that there's another problem in all of this that we found out in this episode. When they first reactivate uh, Jin,
G-Pen.
G-Pen, uh, he has no sentience at all and no interest in it either. He just keeps trying to connect to satellite there.
That's because that's where all of his information is. That's where all his data is. That's like, what is my purpose?
So,
Right. Well, it's
404
kind
not
of like,
found.
yeah, it's basically like whenever you just turn on software, they're looking for updates or connections. Right. So, like, that's the default state. It's not him choosing it. That's just like protocol one.
Right, but this presents a whole nother problem for both Aruto and Jin because they can't really do much with them when they're in that state.
Yeah, that's why,
um,
like, at
it,
least Hirobi has a point or possible point. Go ahead.
Hirobi has a good point of, well, they have to be connected to something in that to gain sentience, but you also have the aspect of, for Aruto, it's not so much a, hey, you don't know anything beyond the core basics that you were initially programmed with. I'm still going to push you to try and be sentient and all that. It adds another challenge to Aruto without them having to rely on the fact of, oh, well, they're all backed up to the satellite, which they still are. They just can't connect to it. It adds a more of a purpose for Aruto of him trying to go, okay, well, we've got, and for this particular case, G-Pen. Let's try to get him back to where he was without having to use satellite Zaya. Is like, and with the issue with Jin is he's sentient, he's not connected to anything, so he no longer has that information of, hey, this one's about to be sentient, go get it. He's having to do this off intuition and knowledge and everything that he knows, which is why he throws in for Aruto for this of, I don't have my normal way of finding these, I'm just going to wait till you do. It adds a newer dynamic into the show, which I'm kind of glad they did after that whole competition thing.
I mean, to be fair, the options are a lot more limited now because Hyuga are basically being scrapped on site. So, yeah, I mean, Jin's pretty smart for just, following Aruto around. I wonder if Satellite Zay is going to make a play later on because the thing is, like, it's disconnected, but, like, Aruto didn't do that because he can't connect to, like, I mean, I guess maybe they did lock it on purpose, but if they didn't, then, like, I wonder if Satellite Zaya and and the Ark will have like some kind of thing going down in the future. Because the thing is, like, technically, the Ark still has a back way, like a back door into Satellite Zaya. Like, it's a possibility. It's unlikely, but they could do something there.
Yeah, and I agree with that because, I mean, as far as we know, Aruto and Izo did nothing to it. We know Zaya hasn't done anything to it because they're trying to hack into it and force it to work, and it's resisting. It's
And we
shut it.
also have we've also got the point that Satellite Zaya is sentient, so it probably went, yeah, no, I'm out of this. Deal with your own shit.
So I'm thinking it's probably going to reactivate at the moment it's needed the most. Because right now it knows some bad shit's going to happen if current CEO can get into it. And so I'm thinking it's probably done a protective measure or maybe something his grandfather programmed into it. As we've seen before, his grandfather had little things in line in case of certain situations. So maybe it got like a back program got tripped on, so it shut down and blocked out any other attempts to it.
It's weird that none of us know what happened with how casually they play it off in the show. Like, I feel like this is something that should have been explained more than not at all.
Yeah, I'm feeling like this is gonna have like, if it gets play, it's gonna have a major play. Like, whoever the hell remade Jin. Because the thing is, it's really important, but the show is like, either wait and see, or it's like, well, you're thinking more of this than needs to be thought of. But I'm like, well, Jin's definitely gonna come back into play, but like Satellite Zaya, like, there's a pretty big chance. Like, okay, it's probably just in defense mode, but if it's not, and it comes into play, we're 30 episodes in. Like, by episode 40, if it doesn't show up, then it's probably like it was nothing. But if it does, it's gonna be something major.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's most likely building up to something, and it's going to be like, oh shit.
Also, I'm surprised that we've gone this long without finding out who rebuilt Jin.
So I have a theory on that, and it's not a hard leap to make.
Go on.
Naki did it.
See, I'm inclined to
don't think so.
disbelieve that for multiple reasons. So
I think see,
Naki's chip is installed in Fua's brain. So Naki can be controlled by Zaya, by Thouser specifically, but he has no desire to build human gear. He's trying to destroy human gear.
Fair.
On the other
And
hand,
the Ark
Naki
has
is a member of Metsubo Jinrai, and they have a desire to rule over human gear, rule over the world with human gear. So they have incentive to rebuild Jin, but then Jin would have been connected to the Ark in that case.
Yeah, exactly. Because the first thing he wants to do is break Hirobi out when he comes back. Right? So it's like there's no way the Ark would build it and rebuild Jin, and then have Jin take away Hirobi from the Ark. Because I feel like the Ark would be smart enough, because it's still like Hirobi was rebuilt and the Ark still maintains control, so I don't feel like Jin would be rebuilt by Matsuo Jinrai.
Like, the main reason why I'm saying that that's more of a possibility is Jin and Naki were working together to release Hirobi. There makes no sense for that to happen without some interference, because again, it takes either the Ark or Thousand Island to take over the chip.
No. It doesn't take the Ark. It just takes hacking the chip.
Right, because Jin can hack Shimagi or not.
That's true. Yeah, that's right.
And Jin broke Hirobi out of jail because he wants to liberate the human gear from the humans.
That's fair.
Hirobi's choice is to follow the Ark's will. That's his choice. He's free Jin has no more concern about that.
At the
That's
same
just
time, though, is nobody else disturbed by the fact that CEO Thousand Island Crazy Pants has chips in all of his employees' heads and controlling them?
I think it's just the writers, but yeah, it's freaking weird.
Yeah, it's specifically Fu and Yua because that's how they're able to use the shot risers, whereas the raid risers were developed so that anyone can use them, which is
Yeah,
why
but
they
in
were
this
beta tested by
episode,
being
we
thrown
saw
onto
that
random
they have chips
civilians.
too.
well, no, it's just they're terrified of getting killed by Thousand Island.
Yeah,
The
I mean,
the raid riser ones aren't the horseshoe crab people aren't um aren't chipped. It's literally do this or die.
It's like,
Yeah, but we saw his two security guards have the same reaction, like he shocked them or something.
I think they
He may have
just.
he may have the ability to do it once they're henchioned because it is his technology. But in outside of that, he has no control over them beyond the fact of I am your boss. I decide whether or not you get to eat this week.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to he's paying them a lot of money.
Which
could be.
this isn't the first time that a corporation and Ryder has paid their employees to do bad things.
I mean, to be fair, they're basically mercenaries, so like they
They're
weren't in
basically
Ryder.
they're basically trying to become Zect at this point.
Yeah, pretty much, right? Well, yeah, Ames is pretty much Zek. Also, Springtime Bonnie says all human gear that were hacked by Matsubo Jinrai and turned into Magyar are factory reset once rebuilt.
Right. The issue here's the issue with that in terms of this particular aspect. This happened very early on, and in theory, if my memory serves correct, they rebuilt G-Pen fairly soon. So he would have had all of that new knowledge up until Thousand Island decided, yeah, we're just going to scrap everybody.
Right.
So in theory, he shouldn't have been factory reset unless whatever wonky connection to the arc thing took that away, which would make sense in terms of the aspect of he was stuck in a box.
Yeah, I mean, I think he just powered down because he couldn't connect to satellite Zeta. But yeah, you're right.
The only way that this particular situation makes sense is if all of the human gears running around cloud based, that they have no physical knowledge.
Well, I mean, they probably put that as a safety feature after what happened to Daybreak because they all went crazy, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Let's have a clean backup of everybody, and we're just not going to stick them on the hard drive.
Right. I mean, because the thing is, like, last time they got hacked, it's like, well, technically, not satellites, the Ark fell into the ocean, so they thought it got destroyed, so they didn't have to worry about it. Whereas satellite Zeta, they're like, okay, one, if the robots start going crazy, we just disconnect them from satellite Zeta and they would stop. Right, so that was their backup. Or if satellite Zeta tries to hack them, we just have to disconnect satellite Zeta or blow it up or whatever, and then all the human gear stop. Because I'm guessing it was more of like a safety feature built in, so they couldn't just become like they couldn't reach singularity as easily as the older models seem to be able to do.
So, with G-Pen just wandering the streets, trying to connect to Satellite Zeta, and almost running out of power, he actually finds himself stopping and staring at a poster for a movie, an anime movie based off of the manga series that he was helping make. Yua brings her SWAT team in to dispose of him, when Naruto shows up and tries to encourage G-Pen to make his own series and to think for himself rather than acting on orders. And this sparks G-Pen's passion for manga, and he realizes that he does want to make his own series. In particular, Aruto explains that it's okay for a human to dare to dream, which doesn't just impact G-Pen, it also impacts Jin, who's listening from behind a tree.
And what a fantastic actor Jin is.
Oh, dude, Jin's so good. Also, like, Yua's finally getting freaking character arcs, so I'm happy about that. Like,
I like
goddamn, she actually made a decision this episode. Like, what an improvement.
and it's
Finally.
right.
Yeah, I know, right? The bar is so low at this point.
I think the best thing I like about this is that there's finally that clear indication of, yeah, no, she's just full of shit. She's not doing. There's no free will here. She's being controlled one way or the other. This particular episode just happens to show her getting zapped in the head.
Well, we've seen that before, but she's finally showing some second thoughts and resistance. She's not a little
Right.
lapdog anymore.
Well, at this particular moment.
I mean, she is, but we finally see some struggle. We finally see some, oh, finally, here it is. You're actually thinking for a moment, even though you're still going along with them, but you're having doubts.
Like it's more than just a passing, I'm going to grab at my pants, or I'm going to stand here looking down 2 seconds before going and doing exactly what I was told to do that I don't want to do.
I mean, to be fair, trauma takes time and multiple, like, instances of overcoming it to break free of abusive assholes like this. So, like, at least they're doing that okay. It's super annoying that it's happening to the only female character who's a writer who's lived this long, but, you know, at least we're getting it.
Yeah, but as me and Vashi have had discussions about, which I won't fully go into, they should not have started her off as a stronger character then if they were going to do this arc with her.
Right,
because she was like way too competent in the beginning.
This was the let's take her, 2 feet forward and then 10 feet back so we can put her, 11 feet forward. It's like it's not so much of putting it's not so much of putting her, further ahead than she was. Let's put her back where she was. It kind of negates the impact of it a little bit.
To be fair, I think this is like one of the downsides of this writer, where it's like, shit, we need conflict. What? Oh, have one of the heroes go join the bad guys and then pretty much take like all momentum from their character arc, and then have them recover at the end of the arc. Like, Jesus Christ, the hero arc in X8 is like the worst.
At least they didn't start the series with that arc. Blade.
Okay, to be fair, like, Tachibana is not the same starting point. Yeah, it's true. But
the best thing about that was Rai's reaction.
Which is on camera now.
Oh man, like
I like Blade. I like Tachibana,
yes,
but like, yeah, you're right.
I do. I like
It takes like 20
Tachibana
episodes.
after the first arc ends, and I see what he's like when he's actually good.
When he's not crying and
But,
eating
like,
puzzle pieces.
When the series starts,
Fuck you. That episode's correct.
when the series starts, Tachibana is already on the decline, and so you don't see what he fell from. You just see that he's already fallen.
Right. It'd be like, yeah, as much as like you're right, like Yua shouldn't have been as strong of a character because this is such a downgrade for her. Tachibana is like, imagine this Yua at the beginning of the show. It's like, why would anybody like you? And that's sort of Tachibana's problem in Blade, is like, what the fuck is this guy?
This is an instance of they found the problem with the start of Blade and Tachibana, and then massively overcorrected
Right.
to try to justify this, and it takes the impact out of her redemption.
Yeah, I mean the sad part though is like they didn't fix that problem. What happened is like most female writers who show up like past
They're
past
usually
decade
dead within like 5 episodes.
Yeah, sort of. But the thing is like they all start out hyper competent, right? Like the one in Gaim, the one in Forza and stuff, and then they kind of just drop off the face of the earth. And so the thing is, like, Yua's not as competent, like fight wise, but like out of suits, she's like she had agency, and then like later on she didn't, and now we're finally getting back to her starting to become a real person again. But it's like Jesus Christ, it took so long.
I'm a real boy.
So basically, Yua shouldn't have been as confident and self-independent as she was at the start. It should have shown
Well,
us that she was still on Thouser's leash,
okay,
rather
here's the
than
problem.
making it seem like she was very acting on her own.
Right, because the thing
Well,
is,
or
like in the
just
beginning,
have her toned
sorry.
down some. She was way too much of a prominent character, way too much of independent, strong female character to go so far down to being Little Mouse.
Right. I mean, like the thing is, when the show started, like she was competent, but like remember in the first episode when like Fua just like takes the gun and runs, and you're like, okay, she knows what she's doing, but she's dealing with a crazy person. So it's like, oh, okay, that's just a regular person. And then every other time she shows up, she's just a super soldier, right? And then this happens. It's like, what the fuck is going? You know what she actually needed to be on like the level of like early Sawa, where she's like she's good at her job, but she's just a regular person. And then this happened, it would have been fine.
Yeah, I could have dealt with that a lot better. Like,
And-
you can ask Ashley, like, for the last, what, 5 episodes, I've been saying she already died. Because I've been
Yeah,
so mad with her character.
it's been a fun few weeks for Yua.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, Pixie, what do you think? Like, where do you want Yua's character arc to go, and like, how many episodes do you want it to take?
Oh God, I ain't watched enough Rider for that.
No, I mean, like
Uh,
personally, it doesn't matter.
I mean, I just at least stop being a lapdog. Like, she needs to she needs to have like some of that confidence back. I don't know how they're going to do that because they've wasted so many episodes on her just being a little mouse. I don't know if they can do it before the end of this,
oh,
but at
it
least get out of his control is what I want to see. I want to see her start pushing back against his decisions more.
due to scans, the that's a thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say like Thouser's constantly gotten his ass kicked like so hard that his like white suit is constantly dirty after every battle now. Like he's not gonna last too long.
He is currently the definition of insanity.
Okay,
Trying the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
all right. As awesome as that quote is from Einstein, Einstein's the physicist, not a goddamn like, you know.
He's still not wrong in this case.
Well, that's not the actual definition of insanity, also. But yes, you're right. It's a good quote. But then again, like, don't take medical advice from physicists.
So, what do you think about it then?
Oh, you mean like insanity? Okay, like no, I'm just saying the actual definition is different, but everybody just uses the Einstein quote. Because like the medical definition and the like legal definition are different than that, but it's fine.
Like if you wouldn't refer to him as insane, what would you refer to him
Oh
as?
no! I mean, I was just saying. Well, I mean, he's just a narcissist who's imploding. But yeah, he's just hit like
He's a child.
megalomania at this point. Yeah, pretty much right. So like, it's just like it's pure ego, and it's just running its course, and it's gonna just crash and burn super hard. But you're right. If that, I mean, he's pretty much doing the Einstein quote to a T, pretty much at this point. I'm just saying that Einstein quote doesn't actually apply to the actual definition of insanity, but fine.
Alright. So, moving on with the episode a bit. Fua just beats the shit out of Yua.
It pretty much just confirms what I've been saying, that his only goal now is to show up and knock some sense into her.
Well, I mean, he's pretty much reached his character arc goal for the most part. So like, at least he's helping somebody else. There is one question. Springtime Bonnie says, "How many episodes do we have before Yua dies like all the other female writers?" I don't know. I feel like she might live.
In theory, she'll live, with the way that this series is progressing through scans.
This definitely seems like they're setting her up to be the survivor. But if
that can easily go the other way.
If she were to die, then the best way to do it would be the stupidest way to do it, which would be to have Thouser kill her.
Oh God, fuck. No, not that shit. I'm so sick of that garbage.
Or have Thouser use her as a shield and she dies by Jin or Aruto's hand.
God damn, it's even worse.
But not out of the realm of the narcissist.
Dude, like...
He literally did that
so
with the monster.
So we have Rurouni Kenshin or the third live-action movie, or... Yeah, so Shishio or fucking White Wizard. I mean, not White... Whatever. White Wizard, you know the other two. With Medusa. Jesus Christ. So yeah, both of those suck ass. Can we not do that?
I would really prefer we didn't.
But it could totally happen. He's used her as a shield before.
But right, how do you make a badass henshin even more badass?
You either take the bullet like a man, or you punch and spin kick every single bullet in succession.
I forgot how much I miss spin kicks.
Oh God, I was like such a
Kiria.
laser moment.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly, and that's why I loved it.
I love this freaking henshin. I was so hoping we were going to get to this point of talking about his henshin in this episode. Such a good henshin. So awesome.
Because as much as I like the badass moment of him just taking the bullets, I've enjoyed the different ways that he's dealt with them. And now that we have more, there's more that he can do, and now we get the spin kick for the rest of the bullets. Because he still goes through the standard 3 the same way he normally does. Punch, backhand, smack, crush, and then he spin kicks the rest of them.
And at the same time he's doing that, they're also attacking Yua.
I'm still confused. I'm still confused at how it works. I don't understand how the augmented reality creatures can physically attack things, but whatever.
Well, it's just the holographic armor, so... Okay, it's not augmented reality because Arthur's one crashed through the roof.
Right.
Yeah, no, they have a physical form, and that's the part that confuses Vashi.
Yes. How do they have a physical form?
I'm just guessing it's just armor. It's like the... whatever. I'm just guessing it's like Digimon.
It is the suit of armor themselves, and that is what they are.
Oh, you know what? Better. It's
okay.
Saint
That works better. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, while all that's going on, Thouser decides to pull a shakedown on Aruto's new company.
Dude, that was so genius. Like, I'm like, okay, he's like, stay here, or whatever the hell he says to you. I'm like, that's weird, because normally he would ask her to come along to see her loyalty, but he's like, oh no, you deal with this, because just in case he knows that like she might back out of the fight with Aruto, so he just goes himself. I was like, that is such a genius move.
So we'd commented earlier during the whole competition about how, he just, Thousand Islands just starts openly doing shady shit. And now we're in the realm of he's literally doing criminal activities out in public.
Yeah, no, he's getting less and less inconspicuous, like, with each episode.
Dude, he owns the police task force. He owns
Okay,
his rival
okay.
company.
He
can do
he
anything.
owns a division of law enforcement that specifically deals with renegade human gear. He is not above the actual law.
I don't know, man. He's probably a billionaire at this point. You don't know they haven't passed that BoJack Horseman billionaires can kill without any problems law. This is crazy Japan world. I don't know what's happening.
Fucking reinstate Bingo already.
Okay. No, he's gonna get scrapped. He belongs to Hidan or Zaya, whatever.
No, he doesn't.
No,
That's
he
the whole
belongs
point.
to Aruto.
Aruto.
Yeah, I know, but Arto can't rebuild any human gear. He doesn't have the tech.
No, but if
may
he
not
can.
have it.
So here's the thing:
Oh,
Bowser
he
has
has
been
the-
illegally dumping human gear all over the city.
He can literally go find any human gear.
As long as
And
he
Boop-
tries hard enough.
Or they get brought to him, one of the two.
Well,
I mean, that
mean,
is how he got the one that reactivated at the very end of this episode.
Right,
That's
like-
the one he got out of the trash.
Like, they've been working on that in the background. And we find out that, like, yeah, whatever data you put into it, that's what it is. So as long as he has a blank model, he can just program it to be Bingo.
And literally, there goes the end of Thouser.
Yeah, except I doubt like Humagear are allowed to practice law. But you're right,
They-
like he could
they
technically
were.
represent. Well, I know, but he can't present his case. But there's no saying Arto can't say he wants to represent himself and take all the advice from Bingo. Right? So you're right. Here's
The
the,
most
problem. That
logical
would be way
solution to
too
this.
smart. That would be
Right,
way
that's
too
exactly
smart.
it. It would be too smart. We can't have the bad guy get into any actual legal trouble because then your plot falls apart.
Well, I mean,
Right.
you know, unless you're the CEO of Genom Corp, then you can get in legal trouble.
And apparently get away with it.
Dude, it's Ryder. Name one CEO who didn't get away with it.
Fair point.
I mean, did get punished. It was kind of a, well, you're going to help us, so we'll just let you hang out here in Poppy's game.
We're gonna put you in a virtual prison. To be fair, that
technically
you know,
he died, but so...
that was after his death. I know
After his many deaths.
yeah. Well, his first death and then his other 99. The time reset, which gave him more.
What is he? Ghost now?
No, he was literally a video game character at that point,
I
based,
know.
on, based on a live
Look,
system.
okay.
And
Okay, so, like, the thing about X8 is that it just scales up to the point where you're just playing an MMO where everyone is cheating. But then Kronos
Yeah,
shows up and it
playground.
devolves into that playground pretend game where you have that one kid that's just like, no,
Infinity
but I'm, like,
plus
better
one.
than everything that you can do.
Yeah.
You
Infinity
can't be
plus
me.
one. Right, and the only cheat is I'm even more bullshit. Here's my game genius.
No, but, like, I can just like, undo whatever you do, because I can just pause time.
Why? Because I came after you. That's why. Such bullshit. Oh my god, you're right. I mean, that's one of the problems with X8 is like, holy shit, the power scaling just like breaks in the final arc so hard. But at least the show's kind of learned from that. That's why like we aren't getting like more and more power. It's weird that they keep doing the Rider thing of like, we kicked your ass, clearly evil person. Oh, we'll fight you again next time. I'm like, fuck that. Take him to the cops.
Team Rocket blasting off again!
Oh my god.
like the plus side, like with the way that most series with, you know, the evil corporations and stuff like go, is the shady dealings are usually hard to pinpoint at the time. You know, a lot of it starts with a bunch of this is in the shadows, and then, you know, it becomes public knowledge and everybody goes, oh yeah, we should have probably known that. Oops. And we're kind of reaching that point with Zaya, except it's doing it slightly differently. It's like he's just literally just going, yeah, I don't care who sees me. I'm wrecking the crap out of this kid.
Yeah,
I'm
see
going to
that?
destroy. I'm going to destroy his property, which is patented all to him. It is physically, literally his property.
Yeah, it's corporate. Well, I mean, corporate sabotage at this point, or I guess
Yeah,
vandalism.
And he's trying for corporate misappropriation, and corporate sabotage, and espionage, and now literally he decided he's going to be a a 4-man mafia.
Yeah.
Anybody else think it's funny he showed up and was like, I have the money to buy out your patent and copyright? Like Naruto would take his.
That was the shakedown. Pay me and I'll stop fucking with your shit.
Well, he wanted to just buy out all
No,
the
he
patents.
wanted to buy it from Naruto.
Well, yes. Because if you let me buy it, I'll stop fucking with you. Because you no longer have a reason for me to fuck with you. Because you don't have it, I do.
I mean, I'm
That
at
was
least
his
glad
version of
that
the
they-
shakedown.
Like, the only thing that would have made that better is if he pulled out the checkbook. Like, just fucking, how much do you want already?
Dude, I was
No,
gonna be
no,
like,
the briefcase full of money.
Yeah! The briefcase!
Oh, and then he pulls out another briefcase. It just has the driver pick one.
You see this? This is enough money to make you set for life. You just want to take it already and leave me alone?
He's like, here, either take this and don't worry about money ever, or pick the other one and eat through a straw for the rest of your life.
See, I want that, but I want him to have shown up with it in the Blade Riser briefcase. And Naruto takes it and goes, Blade. That's my answer, asshole.
Oh man, that would have been so good. Oh no, Naruto should have brought his own briefcase, and it should have just been that. Oh man,
I mean,
at least he tried.
To be fair, he did transform and immediately brought his briefcase.
Yep. Okay, here's the other thing is like this is one of the problems of X8, whereas like all the CEOs in X8 fought, but I'm like in X8 it kind of makes sense because they can just go into.
Oh, we lost Zero. Alright, well, while we're waiting for him to get back, Oh, he's back. Okay, what were you saying?
Yeah, sorry, I was just saying the CEOs in X8 can just go into writer form and then they can port anywhere. Whereas like this show they can't, and like people can see you and you can record this. So I'm like, there's no reason why like okay, like the Bugster virus, people didn't know what the hell it was. People didn't know who was fighting and everything, but like everybody knows who like Hidan and Zaya's presidents are. And they're just having a throwdown in the middle of the street. Like this worked in X8, it doesn't really work here. So I just like, I mean, Thouser throwing down fits with his personality because he would have the strongest gear. Like he wouldn't give it to anybody else. It doesn't make sense that he just shows up without henching and doing it in front of everybody. But you're right. Maybe he's just getting super cocky.
Because at least like when he was doing it during the competition, it made sense for him when he was doing that shit in public, when he was transforming. It was like, oh look, it's rampaging. I'll this. And now it's
My
just
attack is so shiny and sparkly.
Ignore that
Look
part
how
where I
awesome
made it
I
go
am.
out of control.
now the cameras are facing the other way.
Whoops, how did this get in my hand? Whoops, I dropped it. Whoops, how did it get over there? Hey, look at what that
But-
human gear is holding.
That was so bad.
It got into a testament of stupidity.
Live on
But-
camera.
Twice
Well,
too,
live
really.
off camera, but there were cameras rolling.
But yeah, it's like he's. I don't know. It's just one of those things like that. That irritated me more. Is like, but it makes sense for him to just show up all cocky and arrogant now and go, "Hey yo, yeah, all me. I'm being bad."
Yeah.
I've had enough of your shit.
Oh god.
And
Pixie,
he's
thoughts on this nonsense?
Yeah, pretty much said it all.
I think what Bowser's ultimate defeat is going to be is that his criminal activity is going to actually just get exposed to the general public, and so the committee board over at Hida Intelligence is going to be like, we think you should step down as president.
I mean, maybe, but the thing is, like, Hidan's a subsidiary, so Zaya's board of directors would have to force him aside. I don't know if that's even possible, though. But you're right; it could happen, but considering Hidan's the smaller company now, like, it's unlikely.
I mean, we've seen him being pretty childish up to this point and just throwing temper tantrums. So probably he's going to throw a temper tantrum, forget the cover up whatever he just did, and it's just all going to get exposed.
Yeah, he is getting more and more careless, so it's possible.
Meanwhile, Hiden's gonna sit there and go, "Hey, you know that last president we had wasn't that bad."
Oh yeah, it's better than that vice president asshole who does nothing. Even though the secretary of the vice president showed up this episode, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm not your secretary," and then activates the freaking
And
no.
that was
It's awesome
by far
time.
my favorite part of this episode.
I wonder if this is just cameos, and this is the last we're ever gonna see of these characters.
I don't think it'll be the last, but yeah, we're probably not seeing them in the near future.
Like we may see the yeah, I'm just calling him Assassin Chan. I don't care.
He's the dancer that was reprogrammed to
That
Assassin Chan,
became
but Assassin Chan.
With the fact that he was rebuilt, and I'm hoping that at least for a handful of episodes he will stay at Hiden Manufacturing. Let him be the company mascot.
He probably will be because the secretary's just like, no, I'm not your secretary. I'm not doing this. Here, somebody.
But that did raise an interesting idea. Is like he's now at the point where he can go, yeah, no, I want a lawyer. Doo-doo. I want a construction worker. Doo-doo. I want to buy a house. Doo-doo. He can literally just make the one human gear whatever he needs at that moment.
That is a very good point.
Which could make for an interesting touch, like the way we had at the end of this episode.
Right. I mean, I doubt the show's gonna do it that much because they would have to hire the actors back. But you know, if this was a different show, man, that would be such an interesting gimmick.
And then the last note to talk about is that during the shakedown, Jin comes in and helps Aruto fight back against Thouser, acknowledging that Aruto was able to help G-Pen make his own decisions when Jin couldn't. So he is acknowledging that Aruto might have a point. So this could be the path that leads Jin down to acceptance with coexistence. We'll have to see how it plays out, though.
Which I'm kind of hoping that it does go that path because I do like it when, Jin helps Aruto. Mainly because there are instances like this where he goes, yeah, no, I'm done with all of your guys' shit. This 3-on-1 is bullshit.
And my God, that finisher.
That too. Like this is the only reason why I like the 2-on-1 fights in the show is the finishers look amazing when combined. But having this be the doorway for possibilities is an excellent episode to have it in. Like this feels, especially with Jin's actor portraying it the way he did early in the episode, it comes across as very natural and not something that just seems forced. Which in past writers has the good to bad, the bad to good switch is sometimes felt really really forced. And then backstory explains it, but whatever. With this, it just comes across as 100% genuine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have that much to say about that fight. It was pretty solid, as you guys said. I was just gonna reach back and talk about the Yua versus Fua fight. Man, that was really good too, because you actually see how Fua's abilities work, which is like unlike most other gimmicks, he can just do it on command. Like
Yeah,
he
he
just
doesn't
thinks
have to
about it
touch.
and
He doesn't have to do the Zio touch.
Oh god, yeah, such a waste of time. I was thinking like the drive like triple tap shit. Like, oh man, that's so annoying. I mean,
Or
probably the
dinner
toy
when
would
they all
have.
have to agree and work together.
I mean, to be fair, Deno, that was awesome because it was funny.
I didn't say it wasn't funny, but it does cause a hindrance in the fight.
But it also shows the difference in power and conviction. Because I honestly feel that given what Yu is capable in that suit, she could stand a decent chance with Fua. By no means would she win, but it would
I
be
think she
more of
could
a
win, but like it'd be pretty close. But the thing is, I feel like Yua is really divided right now. So she's
right, and
even her
that's
attacks
what
feel like just Hail Marys.
right, and it's more of the like out of desperation, and at the same time, the time that she spent with Fua, obviously means something to her. So it's like she's not attacking full force the way she would against a human gear. And then have Fua basically going, yeah, no, not having any of your crap. I'm using power ups.
Oh man, it's great. Yeah. I mean, I
And
honestly like the thing is, considering Fu is just running around in like the mid-season power up for any mainline rider, or like almost. Well, I mean, depending on which show, it could be the final power up. That thing is pretty busted, but like it's kind of nice that Fu is just holding back for the most part until he has to, because like normally Fu just goes crazy in his fights, and that suit is busted as all hell. Like if you really wanted to.
oh yeah, 100%, it'd be busted. The restraint they're showing with it is actually phenomenal with Ryder, because usually they just let the busted shit run.
Right.
But the main thing that I feel signifies the fact that the difference A in Fua's strength, and B the fact that Yua's her heart's not 100% into defeating Fua, is the fact that he literally just stops her finishing move with just one arm.
Yeah. I mean,
And then just uses the power ups to wreck her crap from that point forward.
yeah, it's true. I mean, I also did like how like the first one he uses was Hornet. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
Oh,
remember
yeah.
this when you used to be good?
I'm gonna kick your ass with yourself.
And the fact that she thought like she had him and doing her little sneak attack moves, running up, and he's just like, I see you, pow. And then he grabs her staff and then breaks it, and she's just like, what?
He is the immovable object and the unstoppable force.
But he is easily stolen from.
Oh god. Well, I want to see where that goes, because that's really interesting. I don't feel like you was gonna hand it over. So
I don't either. I think
what
that
did she
maybe
steal?
she stole the assault wolf key.
yeah.
Oh, right.
Well, considering everybody's gotten to use that stupid handle for their power up, I want to see Yua use it, even though she already has a stronger form. But whatever, it'll be interesting either way.
Assault jackal.
Assault Hornet.
Yeah, I'm fine with assault.
Hornets are already assault made. Stop it.
Does she even still have the hornet? Like, all we've seen is
Thouser has
Jackal.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. It's gonna be assault Beedrill then. All right.
Mega Beedrill.
Yeah, well, that's a Vine I have to go watch later. But I guess that wraps it up for this episode.
Yeah. So any final thoughts?
I want to see what happens next episode from that
Yeah.
preview, but this one was pretty good. But like shit, stuff's going down next episode for sure.
Definitely looking forward to the progress of this show, and next week does look amazing, and I can't wait.
Yeah, just really good episode that we've had. First really good episode that we've had in a while, and next week's episode looks to be even better.
All right. Thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. We'll be.
I apologize. I'm having fun with the fact that we're on camera.
We'll be back on Tuesday for more reusal. Or not. Fuck. Great. Thanks. For Kira Major. Next Wednesday for Kamen Rider Zero-One. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll catch you next time.
I thank you all for listening. We'll see you guys next time.